Coming up on this edition of Sbu TV, some St. Bonaventure residents were visited by an unwanted intruder, and the university creates an emergency response guide.
Welcome to Sbu TV News. I'm Kaitlin Dean.
And I'm Amanda Fuller. In light of recent school shootings, St. Bonaventure and other universities are taking measures to keep their campuses safe. Jean Taylor took a look.
The Virginia Tech massacre 1 year ago left 33 people dead and changed life on college campuses across the country forever. Last week, a toy gun caused Alfred University in nearby Allegheny County to lock down its entire campus.
I didn't think this was going to happen. I didn't leave my dorm room and say, oh, someone's going to think I had a gun on me and then call the police.
Did the university take proper measures during the scare?
Every threat, every incident has to be taken seriously. I haven't done anything wrong. The person who reported me hasn't done anything wrong. You know, yeah, we got a lot of people here for technically no reason, but better to err on the side of caution.
Today, just sitting in a classroom like this could cost your life. St. Bonaventure has taken a precautionary step and created an emergency response guide for students, staff, and faculty. The guide provides a report form to fill out if a bomb threat is received, how to react to attacks in progress, and a diagram of attacker characteristics to remember and report to police.
We're working toward is a campus-wide exercise where we would involve everyone on campus in, reacting to a mock situation.
The guide also covers emergencies such as fire alarms, natural disasters, utility failures, and medical emergencies. For Sbu TV, I'm Jean Taylor.
No charges were filed against the Alfred student who was carrying the toy gun. The student was carrying the toy gun as part of a game called Zombies vs. Humans. The university is now considering banning the game.
Uganda is a country in Eastern Africa that's been the site of war and tragedy for the past 20 years. Tens of thousands of children there, many of them orphans, have been abducted by rebels and forced to become child soldiers and sex slaves. Claire Glatz tells us one child's story and looks into an organization that's trying to help.
My name is Sarah.
Thank you very much, Sarah. How old are you?
15 years old.
Loyal Sarah. She has the sweetest voice, and her voice rings in my head all the time.
Daniels has documented the life and experience of over 100 children from Uganda. One particular child who impacted him was the loyal Sarah, pictured here.
She was abducted in 2005 when the rebels attacked her village, burning everyone's home, raping women, and killing residents with machetes.
According to Daniels, Sarah was held captive for about a year. She worked as a servant and was often sexually abused. She also witnessed horrors done to other children.
One boy was caught trying to escape for a second time. Sarah watched as the rebel maimed the boy by cutting one of his feet into pieces.
Sarah escaped with her life and her dream to become a teacher. Sarah's photograph is displayed in the Olean Public Library alongside 15 other children's. Many were abducted and escaped, are orphans, and are living in poverty.
I did not ask them to pose in any certain way, just asked them to just look at my camera. I knew their eyes would tell me.
Daniels took the photos during his yearly trip to Uganda, a country in Eastern Africa.
The mission of the exhibit is to bring awareness to the suffering of people in northern Uganda.
Daniels takes his yearly trip with the Stephen Shames Foundation, a nonprofit organization that uses donations to put children in Uganda through school, with hopes they will brighten the future of their country.
Our mission is to build leaders.
There are 72 children in the program right now. The children pictured in this exhibit are not.
We don't have the money.
Daniels is a board member of the foundation and has been to Uganda 3 times. He said he was born to help people like these children.
Always for the underdog. and that's in my genes.
His work behind the camera with the disadvantaged has led him to see them through a different lens.
They may be down and out economically or socially or politically, but they're not down and out in their souls.
For Sbu TV, I'm Claire Glatz.
The photographs and stories will be on display at the Olean Public Library until May 3rd. For more information about the Stephen Shames Foundation, visit www.stephenshames.org.
5 St. Bonaventure students and 1 professor are doing what they can to prevent poverty. Caroline Bayard has the story.
These students may look like they're working on just any group project, but they're actually hard at work preparing for a service trip to Africa that they'll be making in just a few weeks.
I say if we can get rid of poverty first, I can just build on different things. Like I can build on education. Education can build on people being aware about diseases and such.
With help from the St. Bonaventure chapter of Students in Free Enterprise and the non-for-profit Both Your Hands, 5 students and 1 journalism professor will travel to Bethlehem Village in Uganda on May 17th.
It's really been student-driven. They've gone gangbusters putting this trip together.
The group known as Embrace It will visit this rural village hoping to promote long-term economic sustainability, educate the youth and establish a micro-loan program, work at a school where most students are orphans, and help alleviate the problem of poverty.
Hopefully we can teach as much as we learn. So I think that's the idea behind it.
They've done self-defense and first aid training with ROTC and had multiple vaccinations done to prepare for the dangers they could face in Uganda.
I'm not too scared, but at the same time, I mean, there's going to be a lot of culture shock as soon as we get there.
And those dangers might be why the university has not yet directly helped the students fund their trip.
You're still talking about a region that some may consider unstable, and I think legitimately they have a concern for the students.
Although Both Your Hands and SIFE will help pay for the group's actions in Uganda, its main sources of financial support are personal donations and fundraising.
The service over 3 weeks is going to be on a pretty large magnitude, so that's why the costs are so expensive.
To learn more about the Africa trip and how you can help fight poverty in Uganda, go to their website at embraceitafrica.org and go down to Contact Us for more information.
The only way I look at donations is that, we have something, and they don't.
For Sbu TV, I'm Caroline Bayard.
The Embrace It group will spend 3 weeks in Uganda at various locations. The political deadlock in Zimbabwe comes as people struggle to survive in a crumbling economy. A task as simple as getting groceries forces some to cross the border into South Africa. CNN's Jim Clancy has the story.
Zimbabweans streamed back and forth across South Africa's border, some coming to stock up on food and supplies not available in their country. Some also said they wanted a respite from the current political tensions.
We've come on holiday to go and de-stress by the sea, and we're going to do some shopping because the shops there are empty. You can get all the luxury goods, but just ordinary day-to-day stuff, there's nothing.
At supermarkets in the nearby South African town of Messina, Zimbabweans made the best of it. As they loaded up their pickup truck, a group of young men said the supplies were to be shared among several families. Those without a truck simply overloaded small sedans by packing in as much, and sometimes it appeared more, than the vehicle could carry. Zimbabwe's economic crisis, with inflation of more than 100,000%, has brought the nation to its knees. Larger denominations of Zimbabwean dollar bills, a $50 million note is the latest, do nothing to relieve the downward economic spiral. It's barely enough for 3 loaves of bread in Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe's economy may be in for more rough times as this political crisis is expected to head to a runoff vote. A runoff vote that will be particularly hard fought, both in the courts and at the ballot box. For Zimbabweans today, though, the first priority is to see what were the results of the last election. And for that reason, all eyes will be on that high court today. Jim Clancy, CNN, at Bait Bridge Crossing in South Africa.
There has been some suspicious activity in one of the dorms on St. Bonaventure's campus. Michael Postles took a closer look.
All right, I heard that there was a girl who was taking a shower, and in the middle section of the shower, a man came in, and no one really knows who it is, but he was saying inappropriate things to her, and he's just kind of been wandering around the dorms.
This wasn't a one-time occurrence in the dorm.
Second report was a young lady said she was going to the bathroom. She was in the stall, and she saw what appeared to be male's feet walk by the stall, walk back towards the showers, and then walk back out.
Residents of the dorm were notified of the incident.
Plan of action was we put up signs in Dev, letting everybody know that this had happened. We also told everybody to be extra vigilant, make sure you lock the doors, you don't let strangers into the building that you don't know.
But getting into the building is no difficult task.
Doorway right by the theater that's always open, like you don't need a key or anything, and everyone's willing to just open a door for someone.
Since both incidents were reported, daily life in the dorm has not been the same.
At first it was really uncomfortable because you don't want to take a shower alone, you go in like pairs, and in the middle of the night if you have to go to the bathroom you don't want to go by yourself.
Something students can do to prevent something like this from happening again is being aware of who they're letting into their building and not propping doors open like this one here. For Sbu TV, I'm Michael Postles.
There have been no arrests made, but the state police have questioned one person of interest.
Last week, Kaitlin Sawyer reported on social services that help less fortunate families support their families. This week, she found some are taking advantage of the system.
It was just shy of $40,000.
That amount was fraudulently taken from the taxpayers of Cattaraugus County. The Sheriff's Office arrested 11 people recently on various counts of welfare fraud.
And usually what happens is they fill out the affidavit, they qualify, and then ultimately somehow it comes to our attention that they have money that they tried to hide or that they have income that they tried to hide.
Now, committing welfare fraud is a serious offense.
They can be arrested for offering a false instrument, and that's a felony. That's also a misdemeanor welfare fraud, even if they've never received a penny from us.
The defendants are waiting trial.
And they cannot be released from probation until they have reimbursed that money to the county.
The Cattaraugus County Sheriff's Office and Department of Social Services are working together to stop these crimes before they start.
They've implemented the FEDS program, which stands for Front End Detection.
So that's people who have applied and there seems to be some inconsistencies or suspicions about their case. So I go out and investigate and basically stop them from getting the benefits.
I can tell you that the number that we produce by saving tax dollars is very significant every time we make an arrest.
For Sbu TV, I'm Kaitlin Sawyer.
Suspect welfare fraud, the Cattaraugus County Department of Social Services asks that you call their anonymous tip line at 716-373-8010.
Finding value in what others throw away. That's what one company is doing. Taking in 3 billion plastic bottles a year to make the quintessential home furnishing. CNN's Miles O'Brien shows us a business that's making what's old new again.
It's getting harder and harder to sweep our environmental problems under the rug. So why not weave them into the fabric? Here at Mohawk Carpet, they're turning plastic drink bottles into carpet.
This product, by using recycled polyester, gives us the opportunity to really use an alternative to an oil-based product.
Mohawk uses 14,000 plastic drink bottles every minute, about a third of all the recycled bottles in the U.S., to make Everstrand carpet. Mohawk buys the old bottles by the bale. They are broken up, sorted by color, then chipped, cleaned, melted, molded into threads, and spun into yarn.
And this becomes the basis of your carpet. This is what you walk on. It doesn't look or feel anything like a plastic bottle now.
Plastic bottles are a huge environmental problem. The bottles used for water alone consume 47 million gallons of oil and generate 1.5 million tons of waste. But the bottles are high-quality plastic that make great carpet at the same cost.
So we think we're getting the best of both worlds, which is an environmental solution and an economic solution to the issue of the waste issue.
But Americans only recycle about 1 in 4 of the plastic bottles they use. Sadly, our landfills are carpeted with a solution that is going to waste. Miles O'Brien, CNN.
We usually look at the bottom of a plastic container to see if it can be recycled. But could the numbers on the bottom make a difference to your health? I took a closer look. We'll have that for you in a moment. Plastic is everywhere in our refrigerators. But how much do we really know about our plastic? Types of plastics are classified with the numbers 1 through 7.
1.
Number 1 plastics are made with a plastic resin known as PET and are typically found on water and soda bottles.
I've actually had a couple debates with some of my friends about how you're not supposed to reuse water bottles.
According to greenguide.com, this kind of plastic should not be reused because the bottle will absorb bacteria.
Maybe I'll just go out and buy a water bottle.
A doctor who appeared on the Today Show had this to say about plastics with the numbers 3, 6, and 7.
Bottles with the numbers 3, 6, and 7 are not safe for use across the board.
I found a number 3 on the bottom of my plastic container.
Number 3 plastics are made with a plastic resin known as PVC. According to Green Guide, this could interfere with hormonal development, damage the immune system, and affect reproduction and childhood development. The number 6 is typically found on styrofoam containers and plastic cups like this one. These plastics are made from a resin known as PS and could also affect hormones and reproduction. This water cooler I found in an office was classified as number 7. Number 7 plastics are made from a resin known as PC. According to Green Guide, this has a chemical that has been linked to problems like cancer and obesity.
I never realized it, but the applesauce I eat almost daily comes in a number 7 container. But not everyone thinks the numbers make a difference.
The toxic effects on the rats were done at levels that are thousands of times higher than we are exposed to.
Despite this, some people said they are going to be more careful.
I'm going to have to start looking on the bottoms from now on for these numbers to make sure that I'm not going to hurt my body or anybody else.
For SBU TV, I'm Kaitlin Dean. According to greenguide.com, plastics with the numbers 2, 4, and 5 on the bottom are the safest. We'll be right back.
Daddy, why is the sky blue?
Well, to match your pretty eyes.
Nope, not even close. See, all colors have wavelengths that are diffused by oxygen and nitrogen. Since blue is the shortest wavelength, it's diffused up to 10 times more.
Who taught you that?
Mommy?
At age 12, too many girls lose interest in math and science, and they're
diffused by oxygen and nitrogen.
The American Heart Association has released new CPR guidelines geared towards bystanders in order to boost the chances of a victim surviving heart failure.
The AHA said citizens no longer have to perform mouth-to-mouth and instead should focus on delivering constant chest compressions until help arrives.
They probably already have oxygen in their lungs, and so doing the compressions would circulate that oxygen through the body.
The new guidelines are designed for untrained bystanders who have seen someone collapse. Here at the American Red Cross in Olean, they still offer the whole CPR course, including mouth-to-mouth.
I have concerns about diseases that might be transmitted when people are doing rescue breathing, although the chances of that are very, very low. In fact, you're more likely to get a cold than you are anything more serious than that.
Yeah, I think more people might do it because it's about mouth to mouth, but I think sort of the danger is more people doing it. That doesn't mean more qualified people are going to be doing it. So
I think a lot of people are still uncomfortable with it, but given a situation, I think you'd be surprised at what you're capable of.
For SBU TV, I'm Connor Hale.
The AHA still recommends that emergency personnel and people interested in learning CPR should learn mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. For more information, call the American Red Cross at 716-372-5800. High-priced brand names are increasingly going global, no less so in China, where the country's rapid economic growth is being met with a growing demand for luxury goods. CNN's John Vause reports on the explosive boom in Shanghai for supposedly capitalist riches.
This is where communism collides with conspicuous consumption. The upmarket streets of China's boldest and brashest city, Shanghai, where designer stores cater to an exploding number of wealthy shoppers. In US dollars, there's almost 1 million millionaires nationwide. Most are self-made, like Richard Chung. He collects expensive watches and cars. He bought a Bentley to drive to work. I don't think socialism is against materialistic pleasures, he told me. No one has ever defined it that way. Chung sells luxury country club villas, most bought by wealthy Chinese for between 3 and 4 million US dollars, not included the 270,000 fee for the golf club. People need 2 things to join our club, he says. The ability to pay, the other is good taste. Yusai Khan says she's tapping that market for a little taste and style. The woman who's credited with bringing cosmetics to China is now selling expensive designer furniture to fill those multi-million-dollar homes.
Because most of the money really is, made in the last 10 years.
So it's new money?
It's extremely new money. So before, you have to understand, before this opening of China, everybody started from zero. Nobody had money.
The one thing which really stands out when you shop or window shop for name brands here in China is just how expensive everything is, especially compared to Europe and the United States. And that's because imported luxury goods are hit by steep government taxes. Despite that, the market here continues to boom, in part because of a growing middle class, and in the coming years, this communist country is expected to be the biggest consumer of luxury goods in the world. Rupert Hergerwerf has been following China's rich for almost a decade. What started as a frenzied shopping spree of all things designer, he says, has now matured.
They want to show that they're part of the establishment. So we're seeing this sort of change from being moneyed to being wealthy, which includes the sort of the cultural concept.
The kind of consumer-driven, flashy car, designer brand wealth that only money can buy. John Vause, CNN Shanghai.
With gas prices continuing to climb, it's no wonder costs associated with owning a vehicle have gone up. But just how much should you budget for your car? Chelsea Eggleston has the story.
Drivers have to dig a little deeper into their wallets this year. A AAA study released last week found it costs an average of 54 cents per mile to own and operate a vehicle. That's about $8,000 a year. This figure is up $300 from last year. The study took into account fuel and maintenance costs, tires, insurance, financing, depreciation, and license and registration fees. Drivers in the Buffalo-Niagara region are paying even more per mile because the average price for gas is 11 cents more than the national average. But rising gas prices aren't the only thing to blame. Financing and tires are also more expensive, while full coverage insurance and maintenance fees have decreased this year. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, AAA recommends looking at smaller sedans. They're about $4,000 less per year to own than an SUV or minivan. The study also found filling up at the pump is the biggest expense this year. To keep costs down, AAA recommends driving smoothly, keeping tires properly inflated, using cruise control, and keeping up on routine maintenance. For Sbu TV, I'm Chelsea Eggleston.
AAA has published this study since 1950. Back then, a gallon of gas was 27 cents, and it cost drivers an average of 9 cents per mile to own a car.
Winter's wrath once again has left roads in rugged conditions this spring. Until roads gets patched up in the month to come, I have tips how you can keep your car driving smoothly. Even when you try to steer clear, potholes keep popping up on streets, and it may leave your car banged up worse than the bang you feel when you hit one.
What happens when a tire hits a pothole is there's a jagged edge of the pothole itself, which causes sometimes an impact break in the tire.
So how can you expect your car to react after it runs into a depression on the road?
We get a lot of rims that are bent up from pothole damage. I would say 1 to 2 a day. If the alignment goes out from hitting a pothole, there will be premature wear on your tire. If you've got a tire that starts to separate, you could have a blowout. It could cause you to lose control of the car.
It may be tricky to dodge a pothole.
try to avoid the potholes if you can. But if you do hit a pothole real bad, you should get back in to have it lined up.
But there is something you can do to make tires safer for travel.
The main thing is keep your air pressure up all the time.
How much air you fill your tires with and an inflation pump depends on how much weight is on your tires and the tire size. Every vehicle carries its recommended inflation pressure. It's either listed on a sticker located in the driver's side door, the owner's manual, or on a decal in the glove box.
If you hit a pothole real hard and you feel anything different in the steering or the way the car is traveling, I would have it checked out.
For SBU TV, I'm Amanda Fuller. Also, Evan said to get your tires checked and replaced every 40,000 miles.
The women's lacrosse team takes on the George Washington Colonials, and we will recap the NCAA Tournament Championship game.
Welcome back to SBU TV News. Claire Glatz joins us with sports.
Thanks, Amanda. After enduring a 6-game losing streak, where 5 out of 6 losses were by 2 goals or less, the women's lacrosse team faced A10 foe George Washington on a sunny St. Bonaventure Sunday. The seniors ruled the day as Brenna Houghton dished out the 100th assist of her career. Stephanie Jordan recorded her 3rd career hat trick, and goalie Ebony Preston had 12 saves. After 5 minutes of play, the Bonnies never relinquished the lead, giving them a much-needed 11-9 victory. The team continued its hot shooting Wednesday at Niagara, beating the Purple Eagles 18-5. The 3-8 Bonnies will need to win their last 3 conference games against Duquesne, UMass, and LaSalle to make the A10 tournament. The men's college basketball season came to an end on April 7th with the national championship game. Here's a look back at the Instant Classic in San Antonio. The title game matchup featured a battle between the 36-3 Kansas Jayhawks and the 38-1 Memphis Tigers. Memphis jumped out to an early 9-3 lead after a 3-point play from freshman guard Derrick Rose. But Kansas went on a run of its own. A dunk from sophomore Darrell Arthur put the Jayhawks up by 7, their largest lead of the evening. Another score from Arthur at the end of the first half put Kansas up 33-28 at halftime. In the second half, Memphis began to take control of the game behind Rose. Over a 4-minute stretch, he scored 10 straight points for the Tigers to give them a 56-49 lead. Rose capped off his run with an off-balance bank shot as the shot clock expired. The score was initially ruled a 3, but was later changed to a 2 after video replay, which proved to be important later on. Memphis held its largest lead of the game at 60-51 with only 2:12 left on the clock. Out of a timeout, Kansas's Sharon Collins stole the ball and then knocked down a 3-pointer from the corner to cut the Tigers' lead to 4. Down the stretch, Memphis missed opportunities at the free throw line to seal the victory, leaving the Jayhawks with one last chance. Needing a 3 to tie the game, junior Mario Chalmers hit the desperation shot with just 2.1 seconds left, tying the score at 63 and sending the game to an extra session. It was the first NCAA championship game to go to overtime since 1997. In OT, Chalmers set up this alley-oop dunk by Arthur to give the Jayhawks a 4-point lead. The Tigers went cold from the field, shooting just 1 of 8 in the final 5 minutes. Kansas went on to the 75-68 overtime victory, with Chalmers being named the Final Four Most Valuable Player. The national title was Kansas's first since 1988. And that's your look at sports.
That's all for this edition of SBU TV News. I'm Amanda Fuller.
And I'm Kaitlin Dean. For Claire Glatz and all of us here at SBU TV, have a great week.